They need to.
No, my monitor's
They
on.
need to.
I'll just have to look on somebody else's. Yeah.
We're live.
Yeah, can you share the agenda? Because we don't have any paper agendas, please. Do you mind?
My phone.
Oh, I could pull it up on my phone.
Mute your phones, everybody.
Yep. Not on my monitor, but
Not on your monitor?
no, that's okay though. We got 3 monitors at the table, so. Anyway, oh, can you scroll up a little bit, Reese? So I'm gonna call the Village of DeForest Public Service Committee, the Monday, March 17th, 2025 meeting to order. It is 6:01 on the clock. Reese, can you do a roll call? I'd say everybody is here, and I regret to inform you that Mackenzie has stepped down from our committee. He is if I remember right, he's taken a job out of at least our community, yeah. He's moving in. So we'll be looking for a replacement for him at some point. But moving on, there is the recital of the pledge. Matt, would you lead us in the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next is item number 4, approval of the minutes. There is the January 27th, 2025 minutes that was in the packet. Is there a motion or any discussion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Bill. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second by Matt. And I'm assuming that's a motion to approve as drafted.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Public comment. There is nobody here, and I don't think there's anybody online either. So, and we'll also move past presentation because there is none. Discussion 7, discussion with architecture and planning for development park concepts. Simulating by staff. Greg?
Sure, I can start it. So yeah, we were gonna have architecture here tonight, but Blake is really sick and he's been sick for over a week here. So we did meet with another owner of architecture, Katie, today. We did some site visits and talked about our certain parks here on kind of how things are gonna be set up. We did, let's see, we had a discussion on scope, kind of looked at the base maps and contours of all these parks. We kind of did some mock markups on some of the playground areas. So this is Conservancy Commons Park. So we were looking at the splash pad. Specifically, in RFP was the splash pad, which kind of we morphed it into possibly looking at the playground equipment because that's like 17, 18 years old. So it's actually in really good condition for that age, but it's getting to the point where we gotta start looking at replacement in the coming years. So we just kind of looked at that, looking at removing the concrete, maybe expanding it a little bit, stuff like that for the splash pad. We're kind of limited on what we can do there with features due to the water access. We've got an 1.5-inch service, so as far as adding bigger features, we'll be kind of limited. like Fireman's Park here has a 4-inch water line. So that we're gonna just have to watch what we can put there. Our next park, this looks like Dale Jenkins Park. More of, adding on more of a tot lot or tot playground equipment, expanding that area. That was in the corp. There's no playground for smaller children there. So then we also looked at an open air shelter kind of in between the trail and soccer fields. And then maybe on the west side of the trail, maybe have some gaming, gaga pit, cornhole, things like that, bocce ball. That'd be kind of the extent of that park. We do have that sledding hill. It's kind of graded that way there. If we ever get snow. Let's see, this is the Nelson Court, special use park by Baki Chiropractic. Right there, yeah. So if you haven't drove by there, or if you drove by it before winter, you could hardly see through that whole park. Now, throughout the winter, we've been working on getting rid of the buckthorn, and then you can see through the entire park. It's actually really, really nice. So we can kind of talked about parking and an open air shelter. Oh, no, it's more of is it an open air shelter? Some sort of shelter there with facilities for restrooms and bubbler. And this would be like a limestone trail going throughout the area with more natural sensory park items. Like could be logs that you walk on, like a balancing beam made out of a log type stuff. That's kind of what we're looking at, possibly a connection from the woods to the trail, like a bridge over the river to have a second access point, which is always good, whether that's for safety or, even just access to the park. Oh yeah, we also talked about maybe having an observation point, like a little deck to where people could go up and sit and overlook the river and then overlook the Baki Conservancy. It's actually a really cool area. We walked back there today and thought, yeah, this would be really cool because when they dredged the river out at some point, they made a high spot and mound right along the river. So it's really high there. And if you just put a little deck there, it'd be a perfect spot.
Question. It's a special use park. Do you mean like for even disabled?
Yeah, this is, so if this would be more of a sensory park for
Autistic?
or autistic type of children. Yep.
The reason I asked if it was also for disabled is that the gravel would not be good for somebody in a wheelchair, the surface.
Yeah, I mean, a limestone trail, actually, I think they could get around in a wheelchair okay.
But it's more,
Probably not ideal, but yeah.
thank you.
Next,
Um,
Gregor, could I maybe ask, is this a appropriate time to talk about some ideas as we come through these parks?
Oh, yeah,
Or is this
if you guys have ideas, we'll write them down.
Okay. Well, go ahead and keep doing your summary. Yeah, Eric.
I remember we met with the one guy, he came in, I think it was a professor or something, and talked about the plants for sensory and that. And I'm just wondering if we've talked to him about any of these, or I know he wanted to do certain plants that was to help some of these kids. I just was curious.
Was that the doctor
It's probably about 9 months ago.
Oh, yeah, we haven't heard back from him in quite some time. he was supposed to bring some stuff back to us and then we just haven't heard back from him.
Yep.
We could touch base and see if we can get a hold of him and,
Yeah, I do
See if
think
he's got
that's a
some
good
ideas.
point, because it seemed like he had quite a few people that could help fund it too.
At least just, yeah, ask his opinion on some stuff. That's all. It'd be fun.
yeah, we could definitely do that. Does anybody else have any, we can always come back and kind of go through each slide again. Or unless you guys want to go back to like conservative comments, has anybody got any comments on
Any
that?
comments on Conservancy comments?
Nothing?
I'd say my only comment with that is, Tricia, I know we bring in a stage quite often for at least the Riverfest, if we wanted to build one that's maybe more permanent there, but
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, kind of remembering what we talked about too is, kind of where the retaining wall is too off the playground equipment. We were talking about possibly doing like a rock wall, a little taller rock walls for climbing. And then maybe in the bottom, this is kind of driving by and we said we could level out an area and make a retaining wall and maybe have future like movies in the park there in the bottom and use that space. What's that?
It's kind of an.
Yeah, it's like a natural amphitheater.
That's, I wanted to ask a question. Have we planned it, not that I do a lot, but like, you said amphitheater, but maybe something that would sit like 50 or 70 people, like concrete, like it would sort of be stepped. Just so we could have like a performance or something like during the summer months. It would just in like one, I don't need, not every single one of them. I'm just wondering if we ever plan anything like that, you know? Cause I know they're gonna do the one over by the new brewery thing over here that they're building.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like in town itself, I'm just wondering if like maybe every Wednesdays or something, we have anything where we find someone local who wants to play the guitar or something, and you know, the kids can go see it. It just would be sort of nice. You just bring a pad to sit on. Yeah. It's just an idea.
Yeah, no. Thank you. So yeah, this, you know, if you guys think of ideas or things that we want to look at incorporating in the concepts, just email one of us and we'll talk to Parkitecture. Cause they're just concepts we're gonna get.
anything with
This
the
isn't
Jenkins
final?
Park?
Yeah, these are final, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Cost estimates are coming soon. No.
One comment I'd make about this one, say that Rocky, or what do you call it, Nelson Court right now?
Yeah.
I know that had a spot that has MMSD coverage. So I would think it'd be important to actually have a bathroom at this park.
Yep, that's what we're gonna check into to see what, if that lot does have MMSD connection fees or if it's already been paid. We've also talked about at the end of Nelson Court, vacating the end and maybe using a smaller area. If the fees haven't been paid, we would put the shelter there, the bathrooms there.
Yep, I think that's great. To me, it'd be more than perfect to have a spot with a, say, shelter and bathroom. I could see, say, businesses using that for luncheons and different things, especially with the sensory park. Thank you.
We got the North Industrial Special Use Park here. We're fairly limited on what we can do at this area just because of the Yahar River and the flood zones that we have. So we'll have to look into, you know, if we can put a open air shelter there or not. We're looking at possibly pump track if we can just do some little 2 to 3 foot, you know, hills to make a pump track there. It'd be out of dirt too. And then we were looking at possibly doing a tree nursery there and where people could come up and we'd label the trees so they could actually see, I think that's what we talked about.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm making it up and then,
A tree bank.
yeah, it's like a tree bank.
Take and plant those trees. out there, be planted.
Yep.
I'm just wondering, to help pay for it, could we ask if people wanted to adopt a tree? And that way, even put their name on the plaque or something with it, adopted by, and then they maybe feel more apt to take care of it or something too.
Yeah, we could definitely, yeah,
I think
we could definitely
make
could
them
look into
connect to
that.
the community bar.
Yeah, so the DNR does do a lot of grant funding, for like this type of project, like a nursery, especially a startup, municipal nursery, I think this would be a good candidate for a grant. No, that was Grindy Road, but,
This is what Porter Pike is now.
dog park, you know where the dog park is? Yep. So it's right at the dog park, just north of 6 acres.
Do you know where the floodplain is? Because I think you'd have a hard time building dirt piles in the floodplain.
That's, yeah, it pretty much takes up that whole area.
Okay.
That's what we would have to check into, like, what's our limitations and what can we do or can't do? Mm. We're talking about like a skateboard park, but we can't do that because those are structures that are above ground and.
So last time I worked in the floodplain, which is 15 years ago, you could change the topography as long as you didn't change the storage. It's just a matter if there's floodway there, then I would just stay away from anything floodway.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sorry. Was that all the parks or is?
Nope.
There's one more.
I think Judd was just getting the map up here. So we've got, the next one is, this is Rivers Turn, development, phase 3.
Something was near here.
Yeah. So we've, actually Jim sent us an email today. One of his neighbors or friends was talking about this park, having a sport court, pickleball, basketball, tennis, maybe sand volleyball, open air shelter. There's already a trail that connects from Blue Stem Trail to the property line, so that's already there. And the development's actually going in, so Stone Crop Way will be paved this summer. So all that will be in, so we'll be able to at least maintain that park now.
Tween building.
Oh, yeah, tween programming, I think we were talking about.
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, Greg, Judd, myself, and Sam all went to the middle school and talked with students. And as part of that, we kind of asked them, like, hey, you guys are one of the hardest to program for. What kind of programs would you like, or what kind of things would you like to see in the parks? And a lot of the students said they wanted to see sand volleyball. And they talked about their favorite features are the basketball court here and things like that. And so, adding an additional amenity like that out there that, serves that population, I think is a great opportunity to explore.
Can I ask I'm assuming you've looked into the demographics out there. I mean, one thing that I've thought of for this park is similar to what Windsor did, where they got sort of a bike track for, I'll say, kids, just to practice the rules of the road. I don't know if that could be something like you circle courts around or maybe
You talked
figure
about
eight.
it beforehand, we? Yeah, that's what I thought.
But
It's
I don't want to bring
There's
it up.
something we can look at, right? So tween, that doesn't fit into that tween category, but
this is, again, these are very preliminary rough concepts with not a lot of dig in depth, right? So part of this is we're gonna do those parking connects here this summer, right? That we'll probably touch on later. But these are areas where we could go out to the parks and say, hey, you know, we're gonna be doing this, you feedback, thoughts, right? So we're just gonna kind of flesh out ideas. That's what this, they're gonna come back with a couple different plans for us, and then we can share them here, get additional feedback, as well as get additional feedback throughout the community.
Thank you. Yeah, Bill?
One thing we need to,
Sure, that's my.
with activities of this type, is be cognizant of the neighbors. I remember Sunnybrook Park, they objected to playground equipment and they wanted us to build a fence because they didn't want to see kids. So a sandball court, a pickleball court, has noise, basketball, boom, 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 boom. We have to get the neighbors to buy into this because they're going to have to live with it. I don't want to put in a basketball court or a volleyball court or a pickleball, and then these people complaining about the noise. We have to have them bought into this before we go too far, because maybe we'll do something else then. So it's just something early in the planning, we've got to get these people on board.
Yep, that's the hope with the Park and Connect that we're doing this summer. We're gonna send letters to everybody that's within the vicinity of each park and hope they give us some good feedback, cause we'll have the concepts that they can review on Engage DeForest and when we're out and about. So that's the hope, at least.
Yeah, because I really like the idea of the twinning, call it tweening park. Because, and then also it's on the bike path, you know, it's in Conservancy Place, but it's off the bike path. So where somebody from here can actually ride their bike on a bike path to get here. They go down Sunnybrook, down the path. It's a hike, but on a bike, it's not bad. You know, it's kind of like they're almost their own little destination, their park. And I really like that idea. Hopefully we can do something with that.
Yeah, I would, so sorry, Bill, but it's not quite on the trail. We'll have to do a street for a short bit.
Some streets, yeah, but
Yeah.
off of here.
Yep,
You take stone crap off.
yep. Mike, it looked like you had a comment.
Thanks. Going back to Bill's comment about, and Greg reaching out to the people in the neighborhood, what kind of percentage of people opposed to something that would stop a project? I'm just curious in my head, like if 15% of the people said they didn't want to park there, would we stop moving forward with the park?
The park is there, right? We've got the land dedicated. What gets put in the park, that's a board decision ultimately, right? They're the ones that would either, you know, face the fire or acquiesce, or I don't know however you want to say it, right? I mean, having served on a board before, I understand how that goes, right? And it's, you know, the loudest people are the ones who are most impacted, right? So it's hard to look at it from what's for the good of the overall community, not just those that are the neighbors. I get the neighbors have to live there, and it may not have been there beforehand, right? So this park, we're probably a little behind on, but we're trying to be a little bit more advanced and proactive in these parks to say, what are we gonna go here? So when somebody buys this lot, right, that's already got a house there, but they would know what's in that backyard. So here it's a little more difficult, and it makes it slightly more challenging for the board ultimately to say if there's pushback from those immediate residents. But I don't know what that number is. That would be.
I'm just, you know.
Yeah, how many?
Yeah,
2 out of 10?
and then I question what isn't going to make some noise in a park? It's a park. You know, if we want people to enjoy the park, it's going to have park hours, you know, so it's not going to be happening at 10 o'clock at night, a lot of loud noise or whatever.
It's not gonna be lit.
Yeah, right. You know, so I mean, what's the difference if it's basketball or if it's, you know, you're having a group, yeah, party out there, right, you know? Just my thoughts.
Yep. Thank you, and I'd say I completely agree with you too, and I think, like Bill, you already said, as long as you didn't light it, you're not gonna have people out there past 10 or whatever, and
No.
hopefully if somebody's moving there, knowing that they're, when they bought the lot, it would have been in concept at least that there's a park there, so I would gotta believe that those individuals had an idea something was gonna be built on the park.
Well,
Yeah,
when I
go ahead, Eric.
It was supposed to be the school. When I built, it was supposed to be the school, and then they told us right afterwards, we're gonna put a park there. Remember that, because we got the letter on that. So I've always known for the last 8 years, there's gonna be a park there. So I assume they're still doing that to everybody.
Even,
One that's
and
been building, on the far right here. No, it's that. So, no, anybody wouldn't.
we have a park in town that's been planned since the beginning. Houses were built adjacent to it. I think we've heard from most of those residents, there's been, save for 2 right on that park, that are opposed to us doing anything in that park because they expect it to be a nice, quiet, serene, grassy area, right? And we're like, it's a park. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but that's what happens in parks, is you put programming in for kids to do things, right? So the best of plans, you still get people who are gonna complain about it. I don't know what we do about it, short of just do our best to be as transparent about it, share all the information, and then the board gets paid the big bucks to make those decisions.
Would it make sense to have like, pick a date where we invite people in and maybe split them up since there's so many, maybe like 4 one month, 4 the next or something, and those people could come in and we could show them, at least then they have a chance to say something, and if they don't, that's on them.
I think that's the idea of the Park and Connect, right, is to go 2 parks. And so the first 2 we had planned, one will be at Fireman's Park, the other one we're doing at Dale Jenkins Park. And then the third one we put up for vote, and Reese will talk about that later, where we're gonna do that one at. But, and Greg touched on, we'll email or message people here with letters saying, hey, this is happening, and invite them to get feedback. I don't know how we don't put this on Engage the Forest as well, to get feedback from folks, that it can be per park. So if you're, near this park, you can sign up for that particular park page information, log your comments, right? But it's a park that, I don't live anywhere near there, but I could just as easily go and use that park, right? So I think it's something that, as a board member, they've got to balance the needs of the entire community with the folks who are going to be most impacted. It's not fun.
Greg, I think it's back to you. Is there another park? There's-
Yep, we'll have Shane O'Donnell Park here. It's off of River Road and Acre, and Griffin Way. So we've got playground equipment there currently. And there's stormwater basin. It's an infiltration basin. A little bit. River Road and Acre, the end of Acre Parkway, Western Green. Yep, off of Clover, Shane O'Donnell. Yep. Yep, so we're talking, so in the past, we've had community members from this subdivision come and speak with us about getting like basketball courts or tennis courts. Kind of looking at, since pickleball, basketball and tennis courts can all be really close to each other, combining a basketball court and two pickleball courts. And I think it's roughly 160 feet long, would be the court size. Is kind of the rough estimate, so we thought that might fit really good here. And then with a open air shelter. Yeah. Yep, basketball, and we can have 3 sports in one. They're showing us the options today, like we would have regular size, basketball hoops, and then on the sides, there would be shorter ones for the smaller kids. So, good options.
See a lot in gymnasiums, right? Schools. 6 hoops in one gym.
Yeah. So that was kind of, what we talked about, Shane O'Donnell. That's the majority of that.
What's that pad that's there now? Just, is that playground equipment?
No, so there's playground equipment there currently, and then where that
Oh, okay.
circle is
Right
kinda
there,
where
yeah.
picnic tables were.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've already established, that's the playground equipment. We need like a basketball or soccer or something besides that. Okay.
Yeah, another amenity that, this would be a good tween park too.
Yeah. Good. Thanks.
Go ahead.
Don? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you consider like water, bubbler, or there's a lot of small children in this area because I walk around there and it gets a lot of use with those little kids.
Yeah, I see a lot of,
A lot of, there were the picnic tables, that's about all they could sit at right now.
yeah, so we'd have to look at what, the utilities are, if there's a water service to that lot.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I mean, we could definitely add it. It'd just be fairly costly to dig into the road and rip up the curb and gutter and
It's
stuff.
so open air there. I mean, the sun really beats down.
Yeah,
They had a place to sit under or water.
yeah, the open air shelter, would definitely help, and we could definitely look into water. That's something staff can, install too, so.
Okay, thank you.
I've got one other comment for there, or really other locations too, is we don't have a whole lot of bathrooms like on the trail system. And I'm not necessarily saying to build a bathroom here because I know like the MMSD fees and things, but I could see other communities, they'll put in like porta potties and they pretty much wrap them with fences so you don't see them. And I think this could be a good location for that. It's pretty close to Western Green Trail. That once we get to having the trail map, we could put whatever rustic bathrooms on those maps.
We certainly talked about that today in a couple of spots where we could do that, so.
But I think we do that even currently at the Rivers Turn Park, but I personally feel that the porta potty was a little unsightly and that we should wrap them with fences, but Sunfish.
Yeah, yeah.
I would like to bring the one at Rivers Turn actually back forward, but wrap it in something, because where it's at, it's hard to be seen by the general public, right? And it leaves some people could be vulnerable trying to use that restroom facility where it's at. So I think we need to try to do something for that. And then that certainly, we can incorporate that into future plans, so.
Thank you. Anybody else with this park? Greg, next one.
So we've got, Ziggy Baseball Park, adjacent to Ziggy Baseball Park.
Sorry, Ziggy, not Zippy, right?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Oh yeah, that's typoed on here too. Sorry. It's one of them copy and paste things, so. My bad.
Doesn't have a name. This park does not have a name.
Yeah,
This is
it
Ziggy
could be
Field.
Zippy Park. All right, we'll get back on track. Yep. So this lot has a little bit of slope, about 3 to 4% slope. So it's, yeah, going from east to west. No, I think what we were looking at is skate park on the east end and then having an open air shelter. And that would be like play equipment for kids. Because we got a lot of multifamily housing there. And then the baseball park will have kids that, are watching their siblings or whatever. Just to the north, and then you also have the Windsor Apartments across the street too, so. The Barn Apartments is, yep.
Everybody loves it.
So we thought we could try to incorporate all that in that location.
Yeah.
The parking, we believe, we'll have to look at the agreement, but we believe the parking lot for the baseball facility would accommodate users for that park, so we wouldn't need to add any parking. Yep.
You'll complement each other. Somebody goes to the game, their kids are along. They
Yeah.
don't want to watch the game. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think the owner of that will agree to, I don't think you'll have a problem, but who knows?
Yeah, and with the skate park, if we're doing one here, it's pretty visible too,
Right.
so, I mean,
Right.
you won't,
Well, you want a skate park to be visible.
yeah,
The cops do at least. You don't want to tuck them away.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, good idea.
Yeah, Judd brought up a good point, is we might have to look at some screening for foul balls, especially if we have got that playground equipment, down further.
Whatever you might.
Yeah, or whatever gets programmed there, I guess. Skateboard, yep. Yeah.
Matt?
I would throw out the idea of, if you're gonna have a skate park there, possibility of a wheels park. Cottage Grove has one. And it's really simple. They have a skate park, and then right next to it, they have a very small pump track. And so skateboarders and bikers can use both of those areas. The pump track in the other location, I think it would be tough to get kids on bikes there. It's just like a tough spot, but this is fairly easy to access, so. I don't know what the skate park costs, but adding a small pump track that could be used by skateboarders and bikers might be a good idea.
Sorry to add on to that. I'm not exactly sure it's a good location, but it very well might be. I've always thought a nice thing with the skate park is you could also have like a roller derby track around it. So they may come to the skate park with the roller blades already, so then they could have a track to go around. Bill?
Oh, I know the pump track down in Fitchburg, skaters and bikers use that. They commingle, but that's a paved trail. The inline skaters, I don't know if inline skating is still a thing, but or those things you stand on with the handle,
Scooter?
scooters, those are still a big thing. And they coexist with a pump track. But not a dirt, of course, not a dirt pump track, but if anybody's down in Fitchburg, go look at that one. It's pretty cool.
I'd also.
Next time I go through there, I'll have to,
It's in Bakken Park.
Yeah.
Bakken Park.
is that downtown anywhere?
No, it's kind of on the, south end of town off of, I think Bylis Road. Trying to remember back for the days from when I worked there,
Screen right now.
off of Clark Street, yeah.
So that's the skate.
That's pump track. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's really small, but I'll have to go out there.
I'll have to go out there and take a look at that. Clark Street, and can you get that a little wider? Trying to figure out.
Take N south of the interstate.
Interstate.
Oh, okay. where's well, I know where I know where Hydride is. It's gonna be south of Hydride to the west. Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
It's a very good idea.
Bakken Park back there. I've never been back there. Oh.
Very
next
good
time I'm there, I'll
ideas.
Check it out.
Yeah, very good ideas. It could lend well with the relief that we have going on there. Greg is next part.
There you go. I think we have somebody interested still in helping with a pump track type of park. I think, I don't know if the person is still interested, but
Oh, and to
It's very cool.
help donate.
yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
They're flexible.
We can talk later.
I don't know how much they want to drop.
All right, so yeah, so next steps are, next next meeting that we have, April 21st. We plan on bringing back some concept plans, already. They're gonna start working on concepts. They believe they'll have some concept plans already completed by then. So they were planning to be here the 21st of April. And then, yeah,
Or the 27th.
oh, well, yeah, we'll meet again for the May 19th meeting to finalize everything. Final concepts will be May 27th. So,
Okay.
and then we'll see what the public wants.
Can I just sort of ask for clarification? So we're gonna have, say, the draft concepts to us April 21st, then probably pretty much the final concepts on May 27th, May 19th.
May 19th, yep.
So we can do maybe some minor changes to be ready for some public input on May 27th. That's the goal.
Yeah, we're gonna want, so when we send out when we get them, we'll share them, right? It may be pretty quick on the 21st, so we're gonna ask you to review them quickly, provide, initial blush feedback to it, right? And then the final concepts need to be to us by May 27th. I don't know if they'll get the final back by the 19th, right? But the final is not, we don't want to be making wholesale changes at that point, right? Again, these are just preliminary concepts, but let's let them get to a final preliminary phase, right? And then we can make changes going forward after that. So I think the real time that we really want to gather the most information is that April 21st timeframe, right? So you can get them, maybe you got a week to send your thoughts back, right, to us, and we can combine them and ultimately share them back to Blake and Katie at Parkitecture and let them incorporate those things and finalize the final plans. Because I think they're going to do 2-3 designs for each park, right? So there's 7 parks. So, there are 14 to 21 different designs they're going to be building out. So you may see something that you like here, but not, so we're going to look for quick turnaround, quick feedback back.
Thank you. And is Parkitecture on board to gather the public input and do any changes after that? Or is it just more or less you guys doing the public input?
Staff is just doing public input. We recommend any committee member come join us too. But yeah, staff will be doing that, and then we'll bring back to Blake any updates at a future date.
Okay, thank you.
That's
Is
all I
that
got.
the end of that topic?
That's all I got.
Anything else from anybody? Okay, thank you. So next agenda item, if you could pull it up, is discussion of Park and Connect. Is that Reese maybe?
I'm taking this one. Yeah, so we talked about this briefly at the January meeting about options for different days and parks. We did kind of narrow down dates So we'll be doing on June 5th, Fireman's Park. That's part of, well, Piano Fondue that night. So we feel like there's going to be a good crowd. They normally bring a good crowd, start to get the word out. We'll share what the current park concepts are for Fireman's Park, just for people who might not know that there's plans for additional parking and stuff over on the eastern side of the park. And then we can share about the other dates that we'll also be doing Park and Connects as well. There is already an Engage to Forest page, which is where we had the survey to try to engage with the public to find out the last location to go. But July 21st, we decided we would do the Dale Jenkins Park, going from 6 to 7. And we'll look to kind of add some other things to entice people to come to the park. And then September 18th, we decided to give August off just because we know a lot of families travel during that time. And we want to make sure we're getting as many people as possible. So we did September 18th, and the park that was voted for was Western Green Park. So we said 5:30 to 6:30. We'll be doing that park. And again, there's no changes that are planned for Western Green. But certainly we can share that. And again, these are opportunities for us to be able to engage with the public. So it's not just because we're going to a park means we're changing anything or doing anything. We want the public to feel comfortable with us as staff, we can talk about trail maps, how to report something if you see it, remind of park rules, and then share other park concepts too for people. So this would be a great opportunity. We can share even about Shane O'Donnell, since it's so close to Western Green. And the plan is not for this to be a 1 year and this is done. We're hoping that it's successful and it's something that the community responds to. And then we would pick 3 new parks in 2026. Again, starting to kind of just build off of it. Obviously, if no one comes to these, I think we'll be maybe having a different discussion, but we're hoping that that's not the case. So I just wanted to share more about it and see if you had any questions at all or anything.
Did you touch on July 21st?
Yep.
Is our meeting?
Oh, yes, it's a meeting night. So we would do the meeting there. And so we would want to make sure that we just didn't have, I think, other actionable items that night.
Okay, go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I voted for Western Green. Number one, it's got a large shelter in case the weather is somewhat iffy. And it, like you said, it's kind of central to that area where somebody can walk down with their kids and hopefully they'll come. I'm hoping 20, 30 people come. I'll be happy with 15, but yeah, it's either that or Conservancy Place, but Western Green seemed to be the best. That's why I went for it.
Thank you, Bill. I guess one comment, I got 2 comments, but the July 21st, I'm guessing we'll just call our meeting as being canceled and we'll have the opportunity to go to this, or we can actually call it a meeting. Because I worry about recording, or we just whatever sound record rather than video.
Yeah, there's no requirements that we have to have any audio recording. Certainly we would still take minutes down. So it would be a record that we called the, meeting to order. We would list the location, which would be Dale Jenkins Park. And then, handle any, I guess we'd have to probably do minutes.
Right.
Which can be recorded again in our minutes of the meeting.
Yeah, we just handwrite minutes on it. But we would notice it because it could have a quorum, right? I anticipate we'll notice all of these for both the Public Services Committee as well as the regular village board, that they may be a notice of a quorum, right? So we'll have the meeting, we'll call it to order. As we said, we won't record it. It won't be any actionable items. It'll just be informational listening session. We could probably write the notes right now for that meeting saying we met here, all these members were attended and we had 2,700 people who came to give us their feedback.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, shuttle park. In my second comment is I'm wondering if we're gonna do any mailers to directly adjoining property owners to announce those 3 days.
Yeah, that's probably part of the whole process of the concept parks too. So we'll have all those dates on there, so where they can come to those.
Yeah, actually Judd brought up the Engage the Forest page, which you can see kind of just shares the information about it, even shows the poll that we had open and connects to our comprehensive outdoor recreation plan page that we had, and then has even saved the dates for the different dates and locations for the 3 park and connects.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Concerns? Okay, next agenda item. And then number 3, urban wildlife management plan update.
Yep, so this is the first year of our wildlife management plan. You know, in previous years, we had deer culls. But this year, we were able to reduce the herd quite a bit within the village limits. We harvested 65 total deer. 64 we found, the 65th one was shot and located a day and a half later by a neighbor the deer was in the backyard. The police had to end up dispatching it. And then that person claimed the deer following the DNR process. So 64 deer though went out to residents. They were all picked up by, the hunts were usually on a Wednesday or Thursday. And all the deer were gone the latest by Saturday, 1 o'clock or something. I think was the latest I ever stayed on a Saturday, or Greg did. So we had all the deer tested for CWD. Only 1 tested positive. There were 35 adult female deer taken, 5 adult male deer. Of those 5, only 2 had antlers. The rest were had already shed theirs. 14 female fawns, 10 male fawns. Again, the 1 CWD positive. There were 7 times we hunted. 1 of those times we didn't get anything. We got skunked. We were pretty aggressive. We did drives. I had the public works staff drive the fields called the Knolls off of River Road, right? That's where the bulk of the herd congregation was. So those adult female deer were between the 2 to 11 years old, with 6 of them between 9 to 11. So that's pretty old for a doe. And adult male deer were between 2 to 3 years old. Only 3 of them had antlers. I guess I don't remember taking the 3rd set off, but every antler any antler deer we had to take the antlers, cut them off and give them to the DNR, where you just can't keep those. So they'll give them to them soon. So we did another drone in early February just to kind of see where the deer were. There's 117 within that same 1.65 square mile radius, right? So you recall we had about 233 a year ago this time. I guess it was March when we did it. So this was February, but where we saw the deer were not in super concentrated areas anymore in those parks. They were actually in people's yards. So I have seen them start to settle back into that area. So when we start again the cull next year, we'll continue. But this was probably our most successful cull. When I go back to previous years, for the deer stuff, I guess I don't have it in this file. I think the most deer we ever took in 1 year were like 47. So we were pretty aggressive with it, trying to get on top of it as much as we could. The conservancy area was the most, where we harvested the most deer. The prairie area was less so. And then late, we added twice at Mayapple Circle, because there's consistently 12 to 15 deer in that little wooded area there. And there's back in there that many deer or more. So there are certain areas that we'll have to look at next year, where we might be able to add in as for deer hunting, because where we set up this year will be developed out with more condos, sooner than later. So we'll have to find additional spots, and that may just push some of the deer out. But again, all the development we had. So previous years, like 2006, 7, 8, I think we did culls. There wasn't anywhere near the homes in Conservancy as there was now. And we didn't, the highest deer count we had was 150 plus one of those years, right? We had 233 deer. So the home building is not dissuading them. They actually know they're in a safe haven kind of a space. So we're gonna have to continuously do this. Questions?
Bill?
Yeah, do you think the weather, the lack of snow kept them from herding up? Because usually when you have 8 inches of snow, they pretty much stay near their food source.
Right.
And they don't disperse as much. I think you'd have better luck with snow. The cold was really inconsistent too, so.
We had plenty of food to eat on the knolls. When we first started walking there and driving, the winter wheat was coming up pretty nice and green. There's none left. I mean, they ate it right down to the soil. So they had plenty of food around without having to come to the bait piles as well, so.
But yeah, I think we've learned a lot for next year.
Yeah, get snow. Buy snow machines.
I know I just got my sausage back from the guy that I took my deer to. I should have brought some for samples for everybody. Maybe next week meeting.
Think, Don, you had some?
I see you mentioned north of V. There's a lot of deer back there. Are you considering next year trying to cull some back there, or is there a way to, because it's so many holes?
Right. So we don't have a lot of land back there. So we set up on the area that we did have land. The deer were pretty skittish up there. They're not as accustomed to humans as you see down on that area, right? So it was a harder hunt, and I think we needed to do it later in the day or in the evening, right? If we were to go back into that area, I would actually really, we'd either have to really push our partner with the USDA to push later to hunt there, or I might even ask the board if we can do that ourselves, or we can hunt that time later, right? So all these deer that Greg and I were a part of processing, right? We had one night where we had our largest amount where we had a couple folks come in and help us, but otherwise it was Greg and I, and Greg's wife Pam was doing the paperwork for us. So it was some late nights, but we got them done. We got it down pretty quick. So if you need help getting a deer, let me know. I can clean one out pretty quick.
Thank you. Anything else, Don?
There's just a lot of deer there. I mean, we have them in our backyard. They just walk down Mohawk Trail like they own the street. They're just not afraid of people. But there's so many of them. I mean, they stop the traffic on V to cross over to go behind Evco there.
Okay, thank you, Don. I do want to ask one question because I got a phone call and I regret that I wasn't able to follow up with it in time, but if there is a residence at, is it River Bend Road or Harvard? that
Yep.
Had noticed injured deer. Any thought that it was from the?
It was. That's the one that they couldn't locate the night of the hunt. So it was found a day and a half later, like I said, and the police came out and put the deer out of its misery. And then that landowner claimed the deer. There was another resident in that area who was pretty distraught though by the blood that they saw. That's when we actually had snow, and it kind of sticks out a little more than any other time. So it's unfortunate. And there was some that was on the trail there as well, I know, and people wanted us to wash it off. Problem is, you put water on a trail, it's gonna freeze, right? And that's not very conducive either, so. Yeah, it's a tough plan.
Side note is I actually called the police non-emergency line twice and got no answer, so that was a bit distraught too.
Yeah, another thing that could have happened too is in the same time period, we received a call about a deer being dead along the trail by Maple Circle by the bridge there. And it was actually being eaten by a coyote. It was pretty much tore up and just laying there, so we removed that. That could have been part of it as well.
Thank you. Anything else, Chad? Anybody? Okay, next item, number 4, discussion recommendation authorizing the Director of Public Service to submit a 2024 annual report. I'll leave it at that.
The standard report we have to issue every year as part of our MS4 reporting requirements for stormwater. We do an excellent job of educating our public on our stormwater things. Illicit discharge, right? We've already had our first couple of the year that we've had to send out citations on. So these are things that we do to talk about and share with the DNR. It's also part of what we do with MAMSWAP, the Madison Area Municipal Stormwater Association Partnership Group. They help us promote and manage our stormwater as well. So it's a bigger cohort of people that are able to work together, and then we submit annually in our results to the DNR. So we do it every year. We're always in compliance. This will go to the board tomorrow night. I think it's on the consent agenda tomorrow night. So it's just something that comes through every year, but just want to make it available in case anybody had questions about it.
I guess to clarify, you make it available, or do you want a recommendation from the committee to go to the board?
You can make a recommendation to the board that you support it if you want. So choose, yep.
Bill?
I'll make a recommendation to the village board to accept the 2024 annual pollutant discharge report.
Thank you, Bill. Is there a second? Seconded by Eric. Other discussion? I see Dawn, you have your hand raised.
I went through this report. I don't know, I found it interesting, actually. But I did have a couple questions, if I could ask them. Would that be all right? The illicit discharge detection and elimination, how do you know that? How do you know about that?
So it's either reported to us directly or the police department maybe gets a report of it. We've had instances where the police have actually seen it, right? So it can be anything from a cement truck washing out its cement in the wrong area, right? And then that discharging down to the stormwater, where we've had a gas tank leaking. Police department saw it, notified us, notified the homeowner. By the time we got there, they had already started some cleanup on it. But nonetheless, it's something that we can go and look at. Yeah, our public works guys, we've educated them a lot on it. So when they're out and about and they see things, they'll notify us. And the other things that kind of fall into this are erosion control, right? So when a development is occurring, they need to have either silt fence up, which Reese learned about today, or silt sock, right? Depending upon the needs. And if we see that that's not there, or they're not cleaning streets on a regular basis and keeping the streets cleaned, or don't have inlet protection, we can cite them. So there's been developments that we've cited just because they don't have the appropriate erosion control measures, which is all leads to illicit discharge.
Okay. On another page, minimum control measures, section 3. It has, down on G, it says if the sum of 3C and 3E don't equal 3F, please explain. Well, 3C is 85, correct? And 3F is 4? Am I looking at it wrong?
So 3C, yep, 85 versus
And,
confirmed illicit discharges are 4.
right, and it said they're supposed to equal 3F. Correct? That's what that little,
Summons.
I don't know.
Please explain below. There's a, tell people. So we got a separate supplemental.
Okay. So you have an,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
okay, thank you. And if there's a civil penalty, how much do you charge? Or if somebody gets a citation?
I forget the dollar amount. It starts, I want to say it starts at like, no, it's like 30 or $50 or something plus court costs. And then if there's recurrences, we can ramp that cost up over and over. So like the most recent one I sent out was $1,000, close to 1,000.
Who does the erosion control inspections? Is that you guys or is that Verbacher's or?
We have a guy from Veerbecker, who's ever kind of overseeing a lot of our projects. He'll run around and look at those. It's then Greg as well does a good job of that. And again, our guys, when they're out and about, they kind of know what erosion control should look like. They can report those things. And Kelly Green, that's our building inspector, will investigate those.
I would add that I'm assuming you guys follow a similar thing that we have to do at the state, and there's requirements to fill out paperwork and do it, was it like weekly or monthly too, so.
Construction sites have, yep, stormwater management plans that they put into place.
Another question I had was on the minimum control measures, section 6, E, oh God. Do you, E says that there were 10. Is it vary every year or is it always 10 or
Yeah, it varies every year, so,
is that the average number or?
nah, some years it could be 3, some years it could be a lot more than that. It all depends on how much, erosion goes in there or street debris. A lot of times we're cleaning out outfalls where the riprap's full of like road grit. So we gotta dig all that riprap out. It could mean that we have to cut trees down that are growing in the riprap or around that storm outfall. So it's just things, maintenance things that we're catching.
Okay. Further down on that page, it, L, the tonnage that, oh, I'm sorry.
For the leaf.
120 tons. How is that,
So the street sweeping,
is that normal for a year or do you have more?
yeah, more or less.
Tons or?
Yeah, well, as we grow, we get more tonnage for sure. And it's also depends on whether the road's been chip sealed or if there's been a lot of construction on that road. Home building could be, maybe somebody put leaves out into the curb and gutter in the street. We're picking those up. Heavier storms, yeah. It all depends. I think this year there was a lot. I don't know, we were out street sweeping right now and I was actually really surprised on how much debris we had in our tandem axle dump truck. It was full over the top, it was up and over the top. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of debris. And it's like, yeah, that's just from 2 days worth. So a lot of wind, you get all that leaf debris. The street sweeper will pick up sticks and you name it, lots of garbage. So our guys do a really good job cleaning the streets, that's for sure.
I think,
Um,
on that, I think the lack of snow and rain to wash stuff away in the winter contributes that too. Yeah, I mean, it collects in the gutter and it doesn't get washed away.
Yeah, and that's actually a good thing because it's all that stuff goes into our waterways. And if we can, like, we made the decision to go out early since we had good weather. Let's go get it now before we get monsoon rains here in April. Let's get this garbage out before it goes into their stormwater basins, which we have to clean out. So we have 10 of these to clean out this year. And so another part of this whole stormwater MS4 permit is we have to, in the summer months, we have to go look at our stormwater outfalls to see if there's any water coming out. If there's water coming out of that storm outfall during the dry season, we have to investigate that and figure out where that's coming from. And we have to sample that water and see if there's, contaminants that are in there. And then we have to find that source. That's part of this process too.
How many tons of, oh, it has how many tons, excuse me. Where do you dump all the tons of stuff that's collected from the street sweeper, and where does all this go?
Well, it goes to a site
Okay,
Um,
tell me, that's fine.
where, yeah, it just goes to a it goes to the clean fill site and gets buried.
Okay, I just was curious about that. Sorry. Oh, final evaluation it is, element, stormwater utility increased, post-construction stormwater management, yeah. It increased 56% in the budget, right? From 65,725 to 102.
So so post-construction stormwater management, Judd can tell me if I'm wrong, but this all entails like our stormwater basins, we have to maintain them for like Quercus, and they do all the native vegetation, spraying and plantings and things like that. Is that correct, Judd? That's where that number comes from. And as we keep adding subdivisions and we are adding bigger stormwater basins, which costs a lot of money to maintain.
Okay.
And they're accommodating 200-year storms instead of 100-year storms that are taking up more land. Just in Hooper, where Hooper is, that's 11 acres that we manage just in that area. So
I just saw the big increase and I was curious as to,
yeah, so that's all the stormwater basins were, it's weed management, it's burning, tree management, because there's always tons of trees that grow around these basins and we have to try to maintain them.
thanks.
Yep.
Sorry, I had too many questions.
No, it's great.
So there was a motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? So seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item is item number 8, updates, and the first one is public services update.
Most of our bids have gone out and have come back. We actually come back pretty favorable. The board approved them last board meeting. We've got a couple others that are still out there. Pepsi Way project will get started. The completion of Pepsi Way to 51 will happen. Reese's already out there starting to do work. Yet here in spring, the Highway 19 and Williamsburg Way will get signalized, right? So those lights will go in there. So we'll have that done, and then that will phase down or be completed, and then the Highway 51 intersection will be signalized there by the travel center, formerly known as a Pine Cone, for those that know what it is. So on the corner of Williamsburg Way and what will become Pepsi Way, it's now Metro Drive. That will have the signalized intersection. There'll be 2 left turn lanes coming north. If you're heading north on 51, there'll be 2 left turn lanes that go into Gander, the old Gander World Camping World, or up towards Quick Trip. And so there'll be some needed improvements with that intersection with the lights there. When that project's done, that actual right in, right out into the truck stop will go away. And all traffic will have to go to Williamsburg Way and circle around through there. That owner of the new owner of the travel center is appreciative of that. He thinks it'll be a benefit for him and his patrons, right? It makes it a lot easier for people to get in and out of there. So we're grateful for his working with us on that. We did get successful bids back for the River Road Water Tower. So we're gonna paint the outside, and the inside will be a complete blast and repaint on the inside because that needs it. The outside can be covered over. So that project will get started here probably in early springtime. We are working with the county on Highway CV, so that is going to the board tomorrow night for them to approve our agreement to work jointly with the county on that project. So again, that's from Main Street to Halzer, and so from Main to Nelson. That will be an urbanized section with curb gutter, storm sewer. We're working with the railroad to improve the drainage there as well. And then from Nelson to Halzer will just be a resurface, but all along that northern boundary will be a new trail connection. So that will be coming to the board tomorrow night, and then that will get approved by the county. And then we'll get that one out for bid here soon. While that's going on, Highway CV will be starting the process this year, and then it'll continue next year. This year, they're MG&E is putting in new gas main all along Highway CV. And then Windsor is putting in new stormwater culverts and things throughout the entire section of CV. So they'll have impacts this year, then next year they'll get to actually redoing that whole section of CV. Windsor will be signalizing the intersection of CV and Windsor Road this year, so that project will be impacting as well. So we'll have some rather robust detours for local folks or for non-local folks. Local folks know how to get around and skirt through some of those things. So it'll be a busy year. Cake Parkway will have, that extension will begin here relatively soon. So yeah, there's nothing really happening in public services right now. So it's pretty easy. And we discontinued fluoride March 7th. So anything else?
Yeah.
Just real quick, when did the burning start? We were talking about earlier. When will that start up?
So yeah, I was gonna bring that up in the natural resources update, but the burning of natural areas, actually, they started that Wednesday last week, just on a few select sites, but they're really starting tomorrow on all of, well, a whole list of them. Yep. And it'll last until we get green grass.
Thank you. I do have a question about the Highway B. Said how we're like urbanizing Main Street to Halzer, and then from Halzer to Stevens. Is there gonna be resurfacing there? Because I thought that was pretty new.
No, from Halzer to Stevenson. Yeah, no, so we're gonna do from Halzer all the way to the bridge, will be all resurfaced.
Okay,
They just, the county last year wedged it. I don't know why they wedged it last year. If they were gonna put in the budget for this year, but they did that.
I guess what I specifically talking about, there's a Yahara River Bridge, and when that project went, what was that,
Oh,
5 years ago?
6
It
years,
did
yep.
some pavement there, so I'm assuming that's more of like a mill and overlay rather than the pulverize that I saw described.
Nelson.
Choose,
Even,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
gonna get done.
Those will get done, so we have one fresh new section all the way through there.
okay, that's what I'm curious.
Smooth and new.
And is that gonna include the recreational path on the north, or is that later?
Yes, includes the recreational path along the north side. So we're working with Demco to get an easement from them. They've agreed in concept to it. I think that's coming to the board soon, once we get the actual what's it called, easement documents finalized. And then all other easements we should have gotten. Greg's done a terrific job working with the railroad.
Which is not.
Said they couldn't be done in short time, and he got it done. So it's been great. Well, but you're working it, so kudos.
Thank you. Bill, you have a comment?
Yeah, I'll be able to get around. What will be the truck detour? Because that is quite a trucky area.
So trucks getting in and out of Blanchard's and that, they'll want to take, Innovation or
No, up on V by
Right.
Del Monte and Demco area.
So we'll have a detour through there. They can get across, in by Helzer, or Stokely.
Yeah,
They can get in that way and then they can cycle back out, through that same direction.
okay.
And then the detour with CV is actually will come up 51, exit onto Windsor Road, then they can take Northtown up, Van Burn to Main. For a time, they'll go Main all the way up to V and across.
Mhm.
Once we get South Street resurfaced, there are parts of South Street that will get resurfaced, then South Street will become the detour to River Road.
Oh, okay.
So it's just, there's gonna be a lot happening.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It'll be a nice road, but it takes some time and I can't wait for CV to be done.
Right.
Thank you. Item number 8.2, recreation and community enrichment update.
Yeah, so in the month of February, we released our spring summer guide. Our transactions were down a little bit from last year, so we had 253 transactions for that day. Like I said, it was down overall. It seems like our transaction totals are up. It has recovered since that time period to now. We are working on a project with university. We're working on they're working with us on some Dragon Art stuff. So they're doing some surveys. They did some focus groups kind of to see what brings people to the event, how can we can better market the event so that we can be able to use these plans towards other programs. And also the economic impact. So if they're coming, where are they coming from? Are they going to other businesses after they go to the event or before the event? And a number of things. So we're going to be releasing a survey to the community this week that the students had put together. And then they're going to be going around the community to put up a number of flyers to promote people to fill out that survey. But they've been doing some focus groups and they'll go to the village board to present their findings after the end. I think we talked to them about coming here too, but I just have to double check with them. The Dragon Arts Fair so far is going really well. So we're up on vendors. We have 129 confirmed artists right now. Which I believe last year they were somewhere around the 120. So Trisha is doing an amazing job with that. We had a sanctioned organization scheduling meeting last week, which we presented to them the same presentation that we presented to the village board at our last meeting, just kind of giving the breakdown of the impacts of sanctioned organizations, just because we had Windsor DeForest Baseball who had reached out requesting to be considered a sanctioned organization and just wanted to get the feel from the board of what direction they wanted to go. We also kind of asked the sanctioned organizations in our meeting to go to Windsor as well to see what Windsor might be able to do or how we can all come to the table together to serve all of the kids from both communities. So overall, they were really understanding and the meeting went really well this year. And, we're still planning to have discussions with them to see if there are maybe changes that we might want to make in the future that would be more permanent. And then finally, we have a Living with Coyotes Awareness and Action that's going to be this Wednesday. So that is going to be ran by Dr. David Drake, Lois, who's been before this committee and the village board, talking really highly about him. I know he had done some videos with Dane County Public Health. So he's going to come and speak to anyone who's interested in coming just about more ways for us to cohabitate, I guess. And I know that we've had a number of calls of instances. I mean, the deer that Greg and Judd talked about earlier, and I believe that there was maybe a crane and animals. And so things that residents can do without going a lethal route. So I think that will be good. And it kind of just continues on our path of trying to have some more educational opportunities for the public as well, like the bird watching and nature flowers and all that stuff. So that's all.
Thank you. Any questions? Just one quick question or comment. I'm wondering with the the Coyote, I'm not gonna be able to go, but are you gonna videotape it or could we maybe put excerpts of it up on our Engage the Forest?
Yeah, I'll look to see if we can get the presentation from him. We're doing it in the community room, so we won't have the capability of being able to record it. But certainly can see if we can get I know he's providing a presentation, so I'll look to see if we can get that and put that on the Engage to Forest page.
Thank you. So Greg, item number 8.3, National Resources Update.
Yeah, so we talked about the burning that's gonna start tomorrow. I think specifically, I think they're gonna be at M&M, which is up north of Dennis Drive. So they'll be starting there. And speaking of M&M, which is Marvin and Marie Schweer Park, north of Dennis Drive, for the deer management portion, we built I'd say a lookout tower platform out in that prairie. Yep, so right where the cursor is, we built it's about 8 feet off the ground with stairs going up to I think it's an 8x8 platform with railings. It's open. We used it for hunting. It's now open for people to go observe wildlife. You can overlook the ponds and the marsh and the prairie. So if you get time and want to walk up there, it's pretty cool to oversee all that. Yeah, you can park at the end of Dennis Drive there in the gravel. Now we are reconstructing Dennis Drive this year, so there will be traffic through there, so we'll just have to keep an eye on that, but yeah, we did an observation tower out there. If you
You
want,
can take an eye on the traffic from the observation tower.
there you go. And then Trout's Unlimited. I don't know if we've talked about this yet, but with our stream bank restoration project, we've talked with Trout's Unlimited and they've donated $17,000 to the village for that project. That's the most that they've ever donated to any municipality or project. So they typically donate to projects, but it's normally a couple thousand here and there. So they're super excited about our project and what we're doing for the Yar River, especially since it's a class 2 trout stream now. Being in an urbanized area, they can't believe it. They're just shocked. And they're really excited to help us make it an even better place. We're gonna have a fishing clinic with Trout's Unlimited at some point this summer. We've got to work the details out with them on how that's like a trout fishing clinic in the river. And then we're gonna have some work days this fall that we're gonna set up with them. They bring all their volunteers from Trout's Unlimited and gonna work with the Friends of the Upper Yar River headwaters as well. Hopefully they'll join in on those work days. So yeah, clearing invasives like buckthorn, honeysuckle along the rivers. Kind of the plan right now. There might be a work day where we put bundles, brush bundles along the river to prevent erosion. So lots of things happening. We're actually meeting tomorrow with Stan Tech on when we're gonna go out for bid for this project, because we have a really short period of construction timeline. So we can only construct from June to September on this river. So any stream bank stabilization stuff is got a short window. I think that's about it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
One quick question. Do you know what we have as a running total that we've gotten for grants for the stream bike?
Yep, it's on Engaged DeForest. I want to say it's, well, close to 600,000.
Wow.
But we should have the exact number here.
Do you know what the estimate is for this year's project?
I'm hoping we find that out tomorrow.
Okay.
But it,
Oh, we got 961. 70, 20, 25. And the next phase we got is this 221. It's got no. So.
plus 17,000.
Yeah.
Plus the 70 go.
17, yeah.
70.
Thank you. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's gonna be great when we can actually see work being done. I think it'll be awesome.
And to see a study actually come to fruition, so.
Yep.
Anything else? I think item 9 was any other business. I don't know if anybody else has anything to talk to. One thing that I would like to mention at this time, I was just looking online, and by what I am seeing online, we are all on this committee until since said April, I think so, the end of the April. So why I bring that up is that we're gonna have an election. I think most everybody knows that. Yeah. So I'm assuming, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, all the committee members will be on this committee until the end of April. I believe I'll be on, Bill, you probably will be too. I'm not I don't know what's gonna happen to me if I don't get reelected, so.
Your head.
Right, so Bill might be chairing that April meeting, but I ask you if you can reach out to me or reach out to Jane. If you guys want to continue on the committee, please let us know, because that will be the first, I shouldn't say Jane, it could be Jane or Bill. It will be a matter of what happens with this committee moving
Got a call
forward.
today.
Yeah, I know Callie has been reaching out to all of the members for all the committees to find out if they're interested in a reappointment, and then is sharing those with Jane, or, you know, if
The president.
whatever, yeah, yep.
Yep, because that's gonna be the next president, be it Jane or Bill, that will be their first order of business is filling the committee, so it's great to hear that somebody's been reaching out to you. And if I'm not back here in April, it's been a great time. Thank you. Anything else? Number 10, adjourn. Is there any motions?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Bill, seconded by Dawn. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0 at 7:33. Thank you.